Hi, this is Simon, and I'm going to just have a quick run through of a Cora report. So I'm not going to go into any details about this specific report and what needs to be done on page, etc. for this particular report, but I am going to just cover what things are and what they mean and what you need to look out for and that kind of thing. And then we can take it from there. So when you run a Cora report, you need to provide a main keyword and a page that you want to check for, and a SERP that you want to rank in. And so this is where on the overview page you have this data here. So this was the search term that we put in, and what Cora has done is gone and looked at all of the top 100 results for that keyword in google.co.uk, and it's listed them here. There's a lot that are hidden, as you can see, from V to AF. Those are hidden, so you can unhide those if you want to. And so this is the site that we're on. Now that's the main top level domain, but you'll notice that if we go to the roadmap, that it's actually pulled out this URL. So it's tracking this URL and comparing that against the other domains in the results. And primarily what it does is it looks at the top 3 and then the whole of the top 10. And so what we're trying to do is tune our page so that we can be better than the result 1. So where you're looking at deficiencies, so this is the overall maximum. This is when you aggregate the top 10 results. The practical maximum is when you aggregate the top 3 results, and then your results are here, and then your deficits are here. So depending how you set the software up, I've got it set to run up on the practical maximum, so it will show us how deficient we are compared to the practical maximum. So that's how you look at these. Now the ones with the biggest number, i.e. closest to 1, are the highest correlating factors. And so here we go, the keywords in the canonical URL. So if you've got a canonical URL pointing to a different page, then you would need to have your keywords in there. If you haven't got a canonical pointing somewhere else, it's just pointing to itself, then it is good practice to have a canonical pointing to itself, in which case you need to make sure that you have the keywords in the URL. Now, one thing that Cora does is it works on a couple of different words, if you like, or search terms. Now, your main keyword is your search term. So whenever you see search term in any of these factors, then it's talking about the exact match keyword that you've got here. Where it talks about keywords, what it's referring to is these ones here. So any of these are what it refers to as keywords. Now, where it gets those from is by going through and extracting the bolded words that Google bolds in a search. So when you've done the search for this in Google, as you scroll through the SERPs, you'll notice that certain words are bolded, and those words are words that are closely related to the actual search term. And so from some testing, it's been proven that adding these words can help with relevancy for a particular search term. So that's what keywords are. It's not your main search term, that's this here. These are the bolded words that Cora has extracted from the SERP, and they're all listed here. And so when it's referring to keywords, it's talking about these variations. Now it's useful to have these because you can use these for various anchor texts. You can use them when you're looking for replacements in your H2s, your H3s. If you're looking for having to add in additional keywords into your content, then it's picking any of these will help you on that way. The other words that it looks at are Lsi keywords. And so it goes through and it pulls out the highest correlating Lsi keywords, and so you can then make sure that you're adding these Lsi keywords which add context to the main keyword, or the main search term, sorry. And so you can sprinkle some of these throughout your content, and then that way you'll make sure that your content is topically relevant to the subject. So those match words are here. Keywords from the other page. It's a little confusing, but these are the match words. These are the bolded words. And then we have this roadmap. Now, the roadmap, where it's highlighted the cells in yellow, these are thought to be the easiest ones that you can change. So you can kind of knock these out the park, as Ted Kubitis, the developer, says, in a short period of time. And so when you look at these, most of these are on-page things. So you can add in some extra keywords. You can add in search terms into your H tags. You can add a bit more content. You can add some keywords in a list tag, and so on and so forth. So these are ones that you can do usually quite well just by editing the content. You don't usually need to get your developer out to do that. They're not the sort of thing that needs links. Those kind of things require additional work. So these are the ones in yellow. And as you can see on this page, there's quite a few things that we can do to tune this page. And bear in mind that this is in comparison to the competitors in this search. So this means that your site here, compared to the ones in the top 3, are deficient in all of these things. So those other sites have already got these things, or majority of these things already squared away. So if you're looking to rank in this SERP higher than you are at the moment, then you're going to need to tackle this stuff, because even if you just throw links at it, if your on page isn't spot on, then you're not going to benefit from those as much from those additional links. The way I look at it, I'll try to explain it, it's like a ship. If you point a ship in the wrong direction and you turbocharge it, then the ship's going to go off course, and so you'll end up ranking for things that you didn't want to. So making sure that your on page is on point, really make sure that your ship is pointing in the right direction for scoring that keyword that you want to. Now, just to say that Cora is run on per keyword per page, and it is good practice from tests to rank a page for a main keyword. And so if you've got a different, let's say for example you had different locations, then you'd want different locations pages for the airport parking keyword. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the page is only ever going to rank for that one particular keyword. And this is where you use these variations and the Lsi words in the places that are proven to help you rank better, and also to rank for more of a variety of related keywords. So you'll find that your page is much better tuned, it's much more topically relevant, and it will rank for more relevant keywords if you start to add these into your page. So for example, where you need to have more keywords in your H1s, H2s and H3 tags, so you need to add 3 more. So you could look at that and say, right, okay, keywords are these words here, so I need to add 1 term for my H1, 1 in my H2 and 1 in my H3. Or you could look at it and say, well, actually my H1 is pretty much spot on, so I'm just going to add a couple in my H2, or I'm going to have I've got 2 H2s on my page, so I'll add 1 in each, or I've got a couple of H3s or 3 H3s, so I'll add them there. So it makes no odds really where you put them, as long as they're there. So keywords in sentences generally means that you need to add more of these words into your content, which usually means adding more content. Now, sometimes these can be a bit confusing. You've got here keywords in your H1, H2, H3, and then you've got keywords in your H1 to H6. Now, if you deal with this, you're automatically going to pretty much deal with this, because there's 3 here and 3 here. So if you do that, then you don't need to worry about this, because you've already crossed it off, because by adding them here, you'll have taken care of this one. And you'll see that as you go through, that there are you get similar things, because the way that it works is it pulls out all these different factors, and some of them are duplicated insofar as the way that it records the data. So keywords in the page's top 10 used phrases. So again, you can see that here where you've got top words. So you can reference that. Keywords in div tags. So you might want to add, usually this will happen in WordPress if you're using WordPress, because when you create a new paragraph tag, it puts in paragraph. Sometimes the theme will put in new div tags. Really depends on the theme. And then we've got things like more search terms in sentences. So essentially, if you look here, this will give you an overview of kind of where you need to make some changes. So long form content, 20% of your issues are with long form content, so you need to add more content. 4% you need to tune it, so you need to add tuning it, is making sure that these H tags and things are better defined in terms of the content formatting. That's here. Headings, metadata, using schema, and so on. So the majority of your issues here are about on-page stuff. So you could look at this and say, right, well, we need to tune the headings, that's 25%, and we need to add some more content. And that content, if the page aesthetically doesn't look right, then you can always use accordions, which is quite a neat way, or tabbed content to kind of hide it away from the visitor if it's getting in the way, or especially on mobile where long form content can be a bit of a pain on a mobile device, but you need that content to be able to rank, especially if your competitors are using a lot of content. So that will give you a quick overview of where you need to make most of the changes. And you can go through keywords in your anchor text. So anchor text could be in navigation, it could be in links on the page. So where you've got large numbers like that, it's worthwhile going to look at your competitors and seeing how they've set their navigation up, or have they got some special linking structure on their page which is making this ridiculously high. And sometimes if you're an e-commerce store, for example, and you're not Amazon, then it wouldn't be possible to add in hundreds more links in a faceted navigation or whatever. So sometimes they might not be appropriate, so you just need to bear that in mind. If you have got an outlier in your SERP in the top 10, then what we could do is we can ban that site from the scan. so that Cora will ignore that and it will report on the others, so you won't perhaps get such a skewed result. But that tends to be more in e-commerce or in local, where you get directories like Yelp and Yell and things like that. So again, keywords in list tags. This could be the navigation, or it could be links. Keywords in the first 100 words. So all of these things are pretty much proven to be, or most of them are proven to be, signals that actually move the needle. So this is telling you what you need to add to your content to make those changes. So that's keywords in meta description. So a lot of these things you could knock these out in an afternoon of just going through and editing the page. So there we go. Twitter meta, having your Facebook open graph and Twitter open graph data on the page. That's been with keyword rich information, has been shown to correlate highly with top rankings. So lots of these things are fairly straightforward to do. And then these are some more specific ways of looking at it from a more advanced point of view, how you want to tune things. And there are some good videos on the Cora site which explains more about how you can use these this information. And advanced Cora users often don't look at the roadmap. They'll look specifically at the overview, and they'll do some they'll pick out what they think are their favorite factors that they know move the needle, and they'll just analyze those key factors and work on off of this page, and they'll unhide this, and they'll do all sorts of fancy things with pivot tables and goodness knows what. So really the data's here. It's how you want to utilize that data based on your experience and so on. And then we've got charts. So for all of the factors, there's a graph which indicates how well something will correlate. Again, the top words. These are the keyword data in terms of the number of words on a page. So and there's a bit of an argument as to when you're looking at keyword density, what figure you're actually using. So some people will say that it's just the raw number of characters on the page. That includes the HTML as well as the main content. And some will say, well, actually you need to take out the HTML and you should only use the actual, what's called clean here, the cleaned up content, and then how many times does your keywords appear in the cleaned up version of it. So depending how you want to use the data, it's here looking for keyword densities. General rule of thumb is to keep it just a bit above what your what the average density is for the page. So if say if it's 5.8, then kind of 6.8 or thereabouts. If you keep your keyword density or create that, then you'll just be a little bit better than what's already there. And then these are the Lsi keywords that you can then use the top correlating ones to make sure that you sprinkled that throughout your content, and you can see how deficient you are rather, compared to the other sites in your competitors. Here we've got all of the results for all of the pages. So this is the top 100. As you can see, the top 100 is based on what the analysis was done on. And then these are just debug things. If we have problems, then we can report these to get Ted to do stuff with that, and the support team will then help us out. So that's essentially how to look at a Cora report. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions, just let me know.